us wanted to cover the H-1B cap for 2025. If you're not already thinking about the H-1B cap for 2025, I highly recommend directing your thoughts to those directions. If you have candidates that you're already considering who need the H-1B, maybe they're on F1 student visas working for you already, maybe they're abroad and you want to bring them to the United States. Now's the annual opportunity that we have once each year to start filing H-1Bs for new candidates, individuals who have never had the H-1Bs before. So what does that look like for 2025? Well, as of today, USCIS has not made any announcement as to the specifics of the H-1B registration for 2025. But based off their past announcements, we largely know what to expect. We expect specific details to be published on the USCIS website sometime around the 27th, 28th of January. That's historically been their practice. However, some of the key details. So first, for an H-1B, you need to know if your candidate's viable in order to submit them for the H-1B registration at all. The H-1B registration only collects minimal information, but a wise practice is to ensure that you're putting through candidates who meet the requirements before you submit them to the registration. That's part of what we do at LBL. We vet these requirements for every single individual. We look at the job that they're going to do, ensure that they're qualified for a professional occupation, one that meets the requirements and expectations from USCIS for an H-1B visa. Then we look at their education to ensure that they actually have a four-year degree or the equivalent. Then we look at the salary that they're currently being paid and compare that with prevailing wages to see if there's issues there. The H-1B lottery, briefly covering this for those unfamiliar. Every year they have 65,000 that are available for the bachelor's quota. There's an additional 20,000 that are reserved to individuals with just a U.S. master's degree. If the demand exceeds the H-1B cap, then a lottery is instituted. We've had a lottery every year since 2014, and this year will be no different. It's been common enough that the registration is now in place automatically every single year. Last year, according to data from USCIS, there were 780,000 registrants for the available quota of 85,000 visas. Here at our office, our selection rate that we saw was 7% of the cases that we submitted. Now, of that number, USCIS later announced that many of them were multiple registrations, and that greatly inflated their numbers. The lottery itself is just a pre-registration system. It collects minimal data only about the candidate. It does not collect any of the job details, the wage details, or the education qualifications. Those factors, as I already mentioned, need to be taken into consideration, but they're not part of the lottery itself. The lottery is just a pre-registration. That's all. Pre-registration, again, this is based off the dates that we've seen for 2022, 2021, and most recently, 2023. So the registration is anticipated to open on March 1st. It has historically closed by the end of March on the 31st. We're projecting that they will end this registration on the 17th or 18th of March this year. And we will know the results by the 31st or the 1st. So we will send notifications to employers and to candidates as soon as they're received for cases that are selected. If you're not selected, USCIS does not upload the notices of non-selection, usually until the end of the year. This year, we saw them in December of 2023, and in 2022, we saw them in September when they announced they weren't doing any additional lotteries. If selected, we have a narrow time window from April until the 30th of June. If you don't file the H-1B petition within that window, it's gone forever and the numbers are reused, either in a subsequent second lottery or in the subsequent year. Timelines that you need to know for the nomination process. So we need nominations for your H-1B individuals that you want to put through the H-1B lottery. We need those nominations by February 15th. That is literally 1 month from now. We can add candidates all the way up until the lottery closes. which we anticipate will be March 17th or 18th. But we can't guarantee submission if we don't have them timely from you. So what we need from each candidate, we need a passport, we need a resume, and then we need a copy of all of their degrees. These details are key because we need to vet that these individuals are viable for an H1B at all. We also need to know whether they can go into the master's cap or the bachelor's cap. Sometimes selecting which lottery to put them under, it can be a fatal decision. If you make a mistake and it's the wrong one, it's fatal to the registration. You lose it forever. On the other hand, if you lose out, well, you may be limiting the individual's chances. If an individual has a qualifying U.S. degree and you don't use it for the master's cap, their chances of selection are almost 50% lower than they would be if you put them through as a U.S. master's candidate. So to reiterate, deadline is February 15th, and we need 3 documents: the passport, the resume, and a copy of all degrees for the individual. Selected cases. So this is the key planning part that you need to take into consideration for an H1B. If selected, you need an assigned project for them. The work location needs to be carefully considered. You need an offer letter and employment agreement with consistent salary, title, and occupation. You also need evidence of work that is going to exist beyond October 1st, or starting October 1st of 2024, and exist beyond that. Ideally, you've got project work that demonstrates you have at least 1 year. If you're placing an individual at a third-party site or having them work from home on a different project for a customer or for a client, then you need to have their position, job duties confirmed in a work order or statement of work or other contractual document. Client letters are no longer accepted evidence. USCIS reaches out directly to verify these cases. So your client must be aware, and you have to have consistency in the contract documentation. Now, next steps. As of now, we collect and prepare the documents that are needed for filing. We will file and submit your petition with USCIS if it's selected, and then we will keep you updated on the status of the case for when we get the receipt, the request, a request for evidence, also known as an RFE if one's issued, or a decision. And if needed, we work directly with your employees to ensure that they're updated in a timely manner. If you have an F1 student on working for you, many cases there are questions that arise that are unique to the F1 student status and special considerations that you may need to take into account. If you have an individual on F1 OPT or OPT STEM that expires after April 1st, 2024, but before September 30th of 2024, if that individual is selected, they will automatically be granted an extension until the end of September 2024. You can request an I-20 from the school and it extends their authorization. The provision is called cap gap. It is automatic, but the school can confirm it with an updated I-20. And this is something, if you have questions on this particular point, please get in touch with us, reach out with the questions. You can go to our website. You can book a consultation with us anytime that suits your schedule. You can book a consultation with any of our attorneys to answer your questions. Change of status versus consular notification. How do you know which one to choose? This is often a very specific question that individuals may need answered for themselves, as opposed to answering them at a company level. And we're happy to do that. Briefly, though, a change of status takes the individual status here in the US and moves it to an H1B. The key is they have to be in status when the petition is filed and be in the United States, and they can't travel until the H1B is approved. If they were to travel, they disrupt the change of status. And that takes you to the consular notification. We can select this initially at filing, or we can end up here. The consular notification is appropriate if an individual is outside the United States, and it's the process of giving them a visa based off of approval for the H1B that will allow them to enter the United States. This step is required if people are outside, but there's no restrictions on international travel while the petition is pending. And this is also something we assist with and support as needed to ensure that the consular notification and the stamping goes smoothly for you and for your employees. What happens if an individual is not selected? So here's some brief information for you, but the best approach is to get in touch with us and to explore the options that are available for each individual. It's very specific, very detailed. Sometimes there's options that are unique to specific people. Appreciate your time. We look forward to serving you, and we thank you for the opportunity of serving, of representing your needs in the field of immigration. A couple key takeaways from this that are not mentioned in this slide. We anticipate that the H1B registration cost this year with USCIS is going to be $150 per applicant. Now, that hasn't been officially published by USCIS, but it's highly likely that it will be. They indicated that last year, but they chose not to make it effective for the 2023 lottery. Actually, the lottery that happened in 2023 for fiscal year 2024. So this year, we expect the cost to be $150. Second, due to the overwhelming numbers of multiple registrations that were submitted in 2023, USCIS announced a change to their process for selection, something I've been really hoping for, a massive improvement that actually should have, in my opinion, should have been in place from the beginning, but wasn't. In previous years, the registration was based off of candidates filing applications in the lottery. So, for example, if an individual filed through multiple employers, well, then he got multiple shots at the registration. This year, in a welcome change, the registration will not be based off of the number of applications that are submitted. Instead, it'll be based off of the individuals. So if an employee has registrations submitted through company A, company B, company C, all of those will count as one registration. So if one is picked, they will all be picked. It is legal to have multiple offers from multiple employers and to file more than once. But this year, based off announcements from USCIS, it will not improve your chances of selection. We anticipate, therefore, that the numbers from USCIS are likely to be adjusted, most likely to a number somewhere in the range of 400,000, based off of their numbers last year, which potentially increases individuals' chances and raises the chances of selection from what we saw last year at 7%, hopefully to the range of maybe 14, 15% or higher. That, of course, remains to be seen. Again, thank you for your time. Please don't hesitate to contact us with any questions that you might have. And if you'd like to speak with myself or any of our attorneys, feel free to go to our website, click on the consultation link, and book a consult with us. We have various times that are available in 15-minute, half-hour, and 1-hour time slots. We look forward to hearing from you. Feel free to use this email at the bottom as well. Thank you.